Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. This week in car audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in, 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 tune in. This week in car audio. Yeah. Tune in. This week in car audio.
Welcome to This Week in Car Audio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, internet sensation and TV movie star, Mr. Jeffrey Fernandez.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
How's it going, Jeffrey?
Good,
If you guys
good. How
can
about
see, I'm
yourself?
still sharing a couple
Oh,
of
there you
things.
go.
We're all doing pretty good. I bowled a tournament this weekend, did hecka good. I was
Nice.
15th or so out of 117 bowlers or something like that.
Wow, I'd say that's pretty good.
So I did okay. Um, Sent some stuff to Alan Riley. I almost got the perfect game again. I got another 299.
Golly.
So yeah, I
Yeah, that's pretty good.
went the front 11, and then threw a great ball, and it just didn't it didn't go, carry the 10 pin. So bummer, Someday I'll get me one of those, but I did throw another 800 series, which is another honor score for bowling for guys that aren't bowlers.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that bowlers try for is 800 series and 300s. So, and I got, like I said, got my second 800 series, so I'm good with that. Anyway, our guest this week, Mr. Luke Hensley, uh, four-time, four back-to-back Street Beat One champ for Usac World Finals. How's it going, Mr. Luke?
What's going on? It's pretty good, man.
All right. I'm glad you were able to join us today. I got everybody shared. It looks like Ronnie made it in already. He's already in the chat.
Awesome. What's up, Ronnie?
So we see him up there. I don't know if anybody's over there on the YouTube side at the moment, but right now I'm seeing the people. I see Andrew Martinez. I noticed I saw some Team 33 stuff in the background over there. Is that your stuff too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, we've had
Yeah, that's my Team 33 shirt there on my
Mhm.
left shoulder.
Yeah, we've had a couple of Team 33
And then
members.
to my
Uh-huh.
heck yeah. Then to my right there above my shoulder is my School of Thump shirt. I was just inducted into School of Thump deal with Ronnie
Oh, cool.
over finals this past weekend. So
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Very
So we saw.
honorary member.
Yeah. School of Thump. That was his deal with his kids, right? With his school kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? With the okay,
Yep.
cool. You basically
For
had
the
your
math
hand
club. Yep.
in building the Power Wheels, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, cool, very cool.
awesome.
Yep.
So,
We cut the wood over at the cabinet shop next door, and obviously built the bass knob. Got some of the equipment from me, and also Crossfire had a big part in that too. So
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So for some of our viewers here, not everybody's familiar with Usac rules and what's
No.
going on with Usac. So can you
Uh,
explain Street Beat 1?
So Street Beat One is the smallest, the first class in Street Beat. The cone area restriction limits you to basically 215s is the max subs that you can run in a dual sub configuration.
Okay,
You go
so
back, it's
just real
like
quick.
a
So
certain
yeah, so it's 215s, 412s, 610s,
yeah, yep,
or a whole bunch of
something like
eights.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
oh,
You can
the
do a
cone
single
area.
18 too. Yep.
Right.
So 215s is the max that you can do in a two sub configuration, and my platform, the 215s is what I went for.
Okay.
So
What about cabin restrictions, mic placement, all that stuff?
stock, everything stock. So all the factory panels have to be in place and appear completely OEM. Everything has to be as it would in a just a regular street car.
Okay. And mic
Oh,
placement on those?
Mic placements outlaw.
Okay.
You could do dash if you wanted to. That basically the premise of Usac is anywhere in front of the B pillar you can put the mic there, sealed or open. But in most cases, most people are a little bit louder in the kick with the door open. So that's what
okay.
most people go for, except for extreme guys or people that are trying to do legal records.
Okay.
Well,
Cool.
explain to us what your car is, what vehicle, and what kind of equipment is in there.
I got a 90 Honda CRX.
Wow.
Um, I'm running two Neo 15s and Crossfire 16K. So
Okay. So it
a little bit of battery power, 185 amp hour.
okay. Can you
That's
run a
good.
wall in that class
Go ahead.
or
No, everything in the stock segment of that has to be below the window line. So if you move to Street Beat 2, you can do the no wall version of that, which is like within a certain height from the roof.
okay.
And then you can remove rear interior panels and all that stuff. But for the class that I run, you have to have everything in place. It's basically everything inside the cargo area because it's a hatchback. Everything has to be in the cargo area, and it has to all be below the window line.
So with the CRXs, the window slants down, and when it slants
Mhm.
down, there's a like a 6-inch panel. So that's all glass on that 6-inch panel too. So is that your
Mhm.
window line, or is it the side windows, or what?
It's the side windows,
Okay.
so yeah, it goes off of those.
Okay.
And for most configurations in that car, which used to be on the package tray where you have sub forward port back, you couldn't fit 15s within the side window. But on the CRX, the rear windows taper up towards the back.
Right.
Hmm.
So if you have the subs at the back of the car, you're just missing the top of the surround when you look across the window line.
Okay. And then so CRX, the window height. Oh, so how do they judge like SIs and HFs? Because
There's no
there's
distinction.
okay, so if you have the rear flaps in or out, they don't care.
Yeah, no,
Okay. Cuz
that
I mean
doesn't matter.
that's
If it
really the
if
major
it
difference in the two on the interior,
yeah,
right?
if you had the flaps, then they would have to be in place. If they didn't come as a factory option, then you wouldn't have to have them.
So if you have an HF, you have to have or you do not have to have the flaps. If you have an SI, then the flaps are required to be in the vehicle, right?
Well, I don't have an HF, so I'm not exactly sure if that was a factory option in that car.
It,
Um,
yeah. So we
but
went
yeah,
over
I
this
would
with
say
DB Drag. So that's the only reason I know so much about those.
okay.
Jeffrey, we may have looked at a CRX or two, huh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I bet so.
yeah. They're pretty. They get pretty loud.
Yep. And realistically, in DB Drag world, we don't see them use them much in the music classes, though. It's
Hmm.
specifically in the burp classes because
Right.
they like 62 hertz, right? So because they tend to like that high of a frequency, it
Hmm.
lends itself to SPL versus you know
Music.
music, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
street
the
beat is music, right? Sorry to interrupt,
Oh
but
yeah,
street beat
street
is
yeah
music.
street beat is music. It's a
Okay,
music average,
music
but
average. Okay.
it's basically a 30-second average on a peak frequency, and the tracks are predetermined as
Mhm.
to what the frequency is. So the track that I run is 66 hertz. There's one that's 55, there's one that's 44, there's one
yeah,
above it that's 77. I'm not exactly
Hmm.
sure how many tracks there are because my range is in the 60s in that car. So
correct. I'm just saying you might want to talk to some other CRX owners on how
Hmm.
to peak out that vehicle at 55 because it's very doable.
Yeah.
Um, because 66 is a little high for that vehicle. Just guessing. I might,
Well,
you know.
the thing with that is that outlaw,
Mm-hmm.
the frequency goes up.
Yes.
So sealed is much different.
Okay.
I
So
see.
Oh, the frequency goes
I've
up,
talked
not down.
right.
Okay.
So in the kick with the door open, you're gonna see most people in the CRXs peaking even higher than that, 68, 69, 70.
Wow.
Really?
Um,
70
my
hertz.
car, when I burp it, I'm still burping close to 66 because I have to tune my box to play that frequency for the street beat track. So I don't make adjustments um, for the burp class. I just burp it at the same frequency or as close to it. You know what I mean?
Okay. So you've designed the vehicle to peak at around the
Peak at that.
66 so that you
Right.
can get. So it is a so let me understand that again. So you're playing predetermined songs. So similar to what DB Drag
Yes,
did
sir.
this year with their things
Hmm.
where you have to use one of the tracks off of our CD, right? That's what we changed
Hmm. Yes, sir.
our bass race to. So you play a predetermined
Hmm.
track, and then they're set in a frequency range, and it's an SPL average. You said across
Hmm.
that whole 30
Yes, sir.
seconds. And now,
Yes, sir.
do you start your music and then they start the meter, or they start the meter and then you start the music like with bass race? If you start your music too early, you get a red light and you get a 0 for your run.
So the you can play it a couple different ways. If you have the judge ready for you to listen for music, and when they hear music, they start the meter,
Mm-hmm.
or you can have them start the meter and you wait for the spot that you want to come out at, and that's what my most recent tactic was, to come out basically right in the middle of, it says ready set. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, so when it says set, that is the
Let's see
prime
here.
time to start when you're doing base race. When it says set on the screen, that's you have to be that's right the second you play music in base race.
You need to be
Um,
playing. Yes.
yes.
I'm trying to figure out how to come back.
You turned your camera off. It looks like.
Maybe
Yeah,
he's got to swipe it.
I
Yeah, maybe
accidentally.
swipe it.
Well, I
Swipe
no,
left
I
or right.
accidentally hit a
Oh
link to
no.
try and yeah,
Oh, you got to get back to Zoom. Get back to the Zoom.
yeah. Okay, let's see here. Open.
There you
There we
are.
go.
There he
Golly,
is.
I just tried to like swipe a notification off the top there,
And it
and
swiped
it
you off.
yeah, it tried to grab me. So
Yep. We got another champion in there watching us right now. Mel Valdez. He's watching us.
yeah,
Ronnie's
he's
watching
also
us.
a Team
Bo Bourne.
33.
Yep. Bo Bourne's watching us.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Yep. We got Tristan from SQ Sounds out of Barbados watching us tonight too. So
Cool.
they have a little party at their house and watch the show and learn about us
A
That's
viewing
cool.
Americans.
party.
Yeah, they do.
Heck yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, so the kids stay up late and watch us and all that stuff too. So that's cool.
Yeah. Shout
Heck
out to
yeah.
those guys.
Yeah. We also have a few people that watch us from New Zealand. I haven't seen them pop up
That's
in the
cool.
chat yet. So we do have some people because right now it is 10:45 a.m. in New Zealand tomorrow. So,
Wow.
so yeah, so they're watching us. Oops. Apparently Siri's listening to me. Anyway, sorry about that. So
No
Street Beat,
problem.
tell us about your win. Some cool stuff maybe happened to you at World Finals. Tell us a little bit about what happened this last year.
Okay, so my goal when I started with this car was to do a 160 in Street Beat One, because the averages were in the low 50s, mid 50s at best most of the time.
Hmm.
So I did everything I could. The first year, the requirements, the cone area was smaller. It was actually, you were only able to do 212s instead of 215s. So
Mhm.
my first 2 years, I ran 212s, and the first year I was wired too low to come out on a strap pair of amps, so I kept protecting, and I still got the first place, but I didn't put up the 160. I did a 58, 64, and then the second year I changed the impedance and then went to carbon cones and had a surround failure. Still took the first place, but did like a 56.
Mhm.
And then the third year I put up the first 60. It was a 60.3, and that was after the cone area increased where I could do the 215s, and I switched to a 16K versus the strap pair of 4Ks. Um, this year, this year was a lot different. I knew at some point through the year that I was gonna have somebody that was gonna come for that same number. They wanted to try and beat that score I had put up last year, and
Mhm.
it actually was a girl. Her name was April Brandenburg, and she did really well. She did like a 59, high 59, and I was really impressed with that. So um, I had last minute head unit failure about 4 or 5 days before we came to finals, and I ended up having to switch the head unit out. And we did a lot of reference testing with uh, both sets of subs that I was running, but never did any actual mock street beat runs or anything like that. So I had no fresh subs, no practice runs. Didn't know. I changed manufacturer's deck, went from Kenwood to a Sony, and just because it was something that was available. So it was a completely different ball game for me, and went up there basically and didn't do well on the first day. Put up a high 58, and was all I could do that. And then I went back and figured out that the track was recorded at much lower volume than the burp tone that I was using. So had to reset the amps and go back and figure out where I needed to come out at. Give me the headroom in the tuning that I could come out at a louder volume. And so on the second day, we came back and beat that by a 160.7. So consistently over a 160 for 2 years. That was my goal, was to beat my previous score. So I did that, and came back to try and beat that again. I wanted to do over 161,
Mhm.
and actually lost a sub on that last run. So
So what I'm hearing you say is this nice young lady, first time competing, came in, was coming after you,
No.
and you gave her false hope. After day
well,
one, she thought she owned you, was gonna win this thing, and then you came back and smashed her
I
dreams. Is that
Sounds
I
like
accurate?
definitely
sandbagging.
I definitely do not think that she thought that, because I'm friends with her and her
Oh,
husband.
okay.
And so I talked to them, and I knew that they were locked and loaded. They were
Mhm.
backed by DD, and so they had a lot of good guys and good equipment over there to run in their car. They were also in a CRX. It just happened to be that I had to run against three other CRXs. Every other CRX at finals I had to run against,
Okay.
and well, all but one. But that one there, man, they were swinging for the fence, and I told them that they couldn't have first place, but I'd give them second. So
How
So-
I
kind.
really
How kind
I
of you.
really respect them. I really
Yeah.
respect them, and they're gonna come try to play again next year. Next year is gonna be my last attempt at it. I wanted 5 consecutive rings.
there you go.
Hopefully I get it. I know
Mhm.
that the competition's definitely going to be there because they brought their A game, and I think if they had a little bit more time, they could have been right there with me. It would have been a heck of a day.
Okay. So is there a reason you picked USAC or DB Drag? I mean, is there a reason you've stuck with USAC, or what you got going on with that?
So Usac is more local to me.
Okay.
We're only recently, since Jeffrey's been in Texas, starting to have DB drag shows,
Hmm.
any bit local. And this all started, the Street D1 thing all started. I met Travis and Yui down at Usac Finals in 2015 or 2016. I can't remember how long ago it's been, but they said, it'd be really cool if somebody did a 160 in Street Beat One, and that's where this all stemmed from. Was like, it would be super cool to see somebody put up a big number in such a small class. So
Okay. So you've been around long enough. Do you know Mike Jaffe?
the name's familiar.
So
I
he's
haven't
the
met
old
him in
man from
person, but
Arizona. He was running
okay,
USAC events.
Right.
He's one of the
okay.
coolest dudes you'll ever meet. He has a great time. Um, I'm still trying to get him on the show, but he's who wants to see an old rundown guy on your show? So we'll get him on here eventually. But he is, dude, that guy has got stories like you wouldn't believe. I did see
Yeah.
a question here in the chat from Patrick Leonard. He wanted to know what's the background story behind Team 33.
Mm.
Yeah, we've seen
So
other members before. First time I seen it was I think Andrew McCain back in the
Yes.
day.
yeah.
He was repping it. Is he like one of the
Hmm.
head guys or?
So Chet Teal is the captain or the leader, or however you want to say that,
Okay.
Mhm.
president. But Andrew McCain and Nathan Munson, Chris Munson, Joe Price,
Oh, old school guys.
lots of. So that's basically my deal with the team. Was I came in, I knew I wasn't really gonna do anything. In the beginning, I was, you know, low 50s in my Blazer, just running around trying to do some things. But I had lots of local teams trying to recruit me, and I kept going to these bigger events like Usac Finals and seeing the world champions all coming together. And basically back then, I looked up to Team 33 and some guys from another team, Beer Based Mafia.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
those two teams were, in my eyes, the upper echelon of what a team should be. And so I wanted to be a champion alongside these guys. And Team 33 was based out of New Mexico, so a little bit closer than the guys from Beer Base. So I started building a friendship with all the guys in Team 33, and that's where that all started. So
Oh, maybe I should have tagged Andrew in this post. Well, you know what? He
sure.
liked the post. He knew you were on tonight.
Oh,
Mm,
So
yeah.
Andrew's a good friend of mine.
yeah,
Mm,
Him and I
yeah.
talked.
great guy.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. So
I
that
always thought that I think you had mentioned it one time, Doug. 33 signified their 33 world
no
records
no
or something
no.
like
It
that.
was a coincidence. Andrew McCain has 33 world records, and it's just a coincidence that
Oh, I
that's how
see. Okay.
many happens to be how many he's had.
Wow, 33. I always thought that's what it was about. 33,
Yeah.
No,
was the world records, but
Andrew told us, but I honestly don't remember what he said. That was probably close to a year ago. And I'm
Mhm.
male, so I forget stuff. I don't listen very well. Just ask my wife;
You're not
she'll tell you.
supposed to. You're not supposed to admit that though. That's the males thing, right?
Oh
You're
yeah,
supposed to
yeah, yeah. Obviously,
forget.
I
Yeah,
was listening.
forgot. Yeah.
No, that.
So
Go ahead.
the meaning of the 33, probably not PC. So probably
Oh.
not real. It stems from a couple things, but we could talk about that private. You know what I mean?
After the show, right?
Right. Sure.
Well, I hope that answered Patrick Leonard's question. So,
Dude,
Yeah.
that's who we need on. We need Leonard Foster. He would be
oh, he's.
super entertaining.
I think
Would
he's
you
in
disagree?
Texas. I don't know if the world's ready for Leonard though.
That you
I
know
just
what?
don't
That
know.
was the same thing that Jacob Fincher told me. He goes, I don't know if the
Yeah,
world's ready for that.
I don't know.
But
Maybe.
you can't deny he would be interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's out of Texas too, I've heard. So
So he moved to
I think
Texas from
he's
Southern
yeah, I think
California,
he's
huh?
down South Texas, I believe. I
Okay.
think last time I talked to him, he had a business where he was I think his other interests were like BMX bikes, and I think he was renting out bicycles, and
Okay.
he had his own business doing that. So
No, Leonard Foster having a business? That dude has more businesses than I do, and I got a lot of businesses. So, no,
good
he's
goodness,
a
man.
hustler. He's definitely a hustler, right? So, but he's got great stories. Hey, so Luke, so can you help us with, your evolution into car audio, where you got started, how, who is your main influence, and all that stuff?
So when I was about 12 years old, my brother was a little bit older than me, 9 years older than me. He had a car and just completely took everything apart, took the door panels and the carpet out of it and all that stuff. And he had some stuff that I didn't really realize at the time, but was really high end equipment for that day. It was one of the first Alpine 3 disc in dash changers and Power 300 to run all the equipment and Polk Audio mids and highs components. You know what I mean? Stuff. This was back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, uh, I watched him do this stuff in the driveway here and didn't completely understand all of it, but it was basic to me because at that point he didn't have a subwoofer. So uh, later he would come back around because he didn't stay around here. He just came for a vacation and actually did the work here at his car. But the next time that he came around, he had Plymouth Laser and had two punch 12s on a punch 150, and that was a much different experience.
Oh
And I
yeah.
remember riding in the car and just not being able to hardly breathe because it was just so much for me back then.
Yep.
And I just didn't understand that that was a way of life, but it definitely planted a seed in me. So that's where it started from. And you know, he would hand down equipment to me here and there, and I built a couple of different little systems in my room. Um, did a couple of different things from an AC tuner, but then
Mm-hmm.
eventually went to a DC power supply with an actual head unit and car amplifiers and everything inside my room
Mm-hmm.
as I was younger. So
So with that, I
work
mean, so your brother was your big influence. Did you ever
yeah.
get a chance to build anything with him?
No, because he was kind of hit and miss as far as where he was. We didn't connect well because we were such a
Right.
far age gap, and
Mhm.
he doesn't live real close. So um, he did those few things in the beginning there that kind of sparked that interest in me
Right.
and planted that seed. But later in life, he came around. He had a M3, and he went to a pretty high end shop here in Fort Worth and had them do a really extravagant build in it, and that was all real high end stuff, but stuff that he probably I don't think he had the skill set to do.
Okay.
Um, Molded enclosure to make it look
Mhm.
factory
Mhm.
integration into the M3 stuff, and past that, he's talked to me a few times about his upgrades that he's done on rides, and we've talked a few times about doing some stuff, but I think I've took that torch and ran a lot further than he ever probably would have with it.
I
So
I would like to make a suggestion. You guys should go out and get yourself some kind of like a Ford station wagon, a '90s Ford station wagon. I'm not kidding, and just
okay.
build something together, or an Astro van, or something that you guys can build a wall or something in. You
Hmm.
guys will absolutely have a different respect for each other afterwards, and
Mm,
I mean, it'll be, I mean, you've built some of your stuff with some of your teammates, I'm sure, right?
sure,
And
absolutely.
the growth that you've had with your teammates is awesome because of that. And like I said,
Hmm.
I would suggest that you try and do it with your brother, since he's really the one who kind of sparked it in you. You may find a totally different respect for the guy.
Right, right, right.
So, um,
Awesome.
you
Yeah,
know,
I'll
cause
take that suggestion.
yeah, because I mean, you said this is your last year with the CRX or with in Street
No,
Beat One, in
last year
Street
in
Beat
Street
One,
Beat One.
right? In Street Beat
Street
Yeah,
Beat
One. So now you're gonna move
yeah.
into Modified X, right?
Nah.
Yeah,
So
let's read into that statement there. You said last competition in Street Beat One.
That's
What does
right.
that mean?
yeah, so this one to my left here, it says Street Beat One, but that one says Stock Unlimited.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go no limit. Try to go stay stock, but go no limit and see how far I can push that.
Okay. And that's essentially just a burp, right?
Yes, sir.
And same similar rules with the cabin. You can't change
Hmm.
anything. Everything's got to be
Right,
factory. Um, mic in a globe somewhere, anywhere forward of the B pillar. Doors
yes, sir.
open, windows closed, whatever you choose, right?
Right. Same
Okay.
thing.
So that's standard outlaw rules,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. You have any intentions of trying to do DB Drag or ISPL or Mecca or any of the other
I've
organizations?
talked I've talked to Jeffrey about it, and we just have to find the good fit for me in that car because the airbag thing has kind of put a little damper into that. I'd like to do something, but I'm not familiar with too much, and I've done a few runs here or there at some of the Crossfire shows, but
Hmm.
just need to get better suited for it. Also, I haven't ever played my car sealed, so I've been doing the outlaw format um, of that or base race when I did any DV drag shows.
Okay. So my suggestion for you with the CRX with that frequency and um, all that stuff, probably your best bet's going to be Pro Stock No Limit because there's no airbag restriction
Mhm.
in that class. So,
Okay.
would you agree,
But there
Jeffrey?
might be a frequency cap though.
Yeah, but still the frequency cap's 60 hertz. And
Right.
when he
He can
seals
drop
his
it
car,
down.
his frequency
True.
drops, he
Should
says.
bring it down.
Yeah.
Right.
So he may
Should.
Pro Stock No Limit may be the right place for him to play.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds reasonable. What
Is
now?
there
What are your thoughts
is
on
there
base
any
race?
cone
Oh, go
cone
ahead.
area?
No, nope. You just
Is
have
there
to
any
be
cone area restrictions in that?
no, sir. You just have to be 13 inches from the roof.
Okay. So it's kind of like in Usac that'd be like a no wall.
Yes.
That'd be like a no wall
Right.
class. Okay.
Yeah, because everything has to be no
What kind
wall
of
or wall in our in DB
what kind
drag.
of numbers are you seeing in that class? The
A
Pro Stock
lot.
No Limit. So
63, 62.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I think what on the West Coast was it Jeff Vu took it?
Did
Did he
Jeff
do
Vu take it? I
did he do no limit?
I know
Or,
for a fact that Daniel Valdez can do 60s all day, like 60.8. And I know
Mhm.
Jeff Vu, I don't remember what class he did, but I know he won his. So
Right.
he's another guy we're going to have on here
okay,
shortly, but he's got some family stuff going on currently. So once he gets all that straightened out, he's very similar to Horner, Dan Horner.
okay.
He remanufactures subwoofers. So you
Yeah,
take him a blown Crossfire and he'll put new parts in it and make it however you want. So he
sure.
does that. That's JVF, Jeff Boo Customs,
Hmm.
and then he's
Right.
also obviously a competitor. So
It's
Hmm.
Jeff Vu's fault.
it's absolutely Jeff
That's what
Boo's
it is,
fault.
JVF. Jeff Vu's fault. That's what
Yeah,
it is.
JVF.
Yeah,
So anyway, your
yeah.
thoughts on base race since you've tried that now?
I like it. I think it's kind of cool. It's basically you know bracket racing.
Yes.
I kind of have a small background in drag racing, so
Oh,
Mhm.
cool.
I like bracket racing.
Okay.
And I got a lot of friends that are going to these Crossfire shows that Jeffrey's putting on, and they're just tearing that up. They love it. So maybe it's
Yeah.
something I visit with the Street Beat setup.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
those guys are making money too. Rogers putting up some money.
Oh yeah, win
that's
Rogers
cool. That's
money.
For
cool.
some of that win Rogers
Heck
money.
yeah.
So
I
uh,
think it'd be interesting to see what my car does in that pro stock no limit though, because
mhm.
this year I did a 65 Outlaw, so
Oh, yeah,
he may be competitive.
yeah.
maybe.
I mean,
And
Hopefully, get
this
nationally
another
year,
competitive, right?
world champion from Texas. That'd be cool.
this year is basically my focus is going to be efficiency. So I want to
Mm.
try to get the power down and get the efficiency up. If I get the efficiency up, then I'll be a lot happier.
So a DB drag vehicle, when you open
Hmm.
the door, it shoots
Hmm.
your power. I mean, it skyrockets your power because you
Hmm.
lose cone control, right? Because you've now
Hmm.
increased the volume in front of the subwoofer drastically.
Hmm.
Um, for as a for lack of a better way of thinking of it, you went from putting the subwoofer in a box when you have everything sealed up. You open a door, you just free aired that
Hmm.
subwoofer, so its control
Okay.
goes away differently. So you're gonna find as you do DB drag stuff, um, it's gonna be easier to control the efficiency once you
Okay.
seal a vehicle up because you have
Okay.
much more control over a lot of factors where when your door's open you don't have control over somebody next to you beating their system, and you have somebody down the block doing this or crowd
Hmm.
screaming. You don't have any control over any of that stuff. So
Right.
you don't have any control over the ambient temperature. So with a car sealed up, you can adjust your temperatures, you can adjust your humidities, you can make your car cooler, you can make it hotter, whatever you want to do with your AC system, which you can't do as
Hmm.
efficiently with your car open. So
Right.
when you start doing
Okay.
DB drag, you're gonna find it's a whole different world. But like I said, it's I always
Yeah.
tell people do what you enjoy first,
Hmm.
and if you feel that
Hmm.
that's the direction you want to go, you'll find that I mean, it's awesome, and you'll find a wealth of people that are just willing to help you get loud because they don't want to win every year. They want you to come in and challenge them and make them louder.
Right.
So I'm sure it's the same for you, right? You don't want to just go in
It
there
is.
and have second place 12 dB behind you. You want second place to
No,
be 1 dB, a half a dB.
right there.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
tenths.
yeah,
Or
and push you to make your car louder next year, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, that's always the intent. Um, yeah, I know you said you've watched our show a couple of times. I'll tell you a
Hmm.
little story about how Street Beat came to be. So Sam Horn was came up with this new format, and Jeffrey was around when we were trying. I think you were a judge by then, Jeffrey, when we were talking about it in the on the side in the forum.
Mm. Okay.
But anyway, so he comes to me and says, "Hey, dude, I got this new format," and he described base race. Well, he at the time he called it street beat, and it was real simple. We went by cone area and amplifier size, so we combined
Hmm.
them together to get a number. Now you had to play music, and it was an average over 30 seconds. And we've obviously evolved to something different, and we called it base race. And then Mike Jaffe comes to me one show and goes, "Hey, check out this new format we got, Street Beat." And he explained it to me. I'm like, dude, I was
It's the
doing that
same.
2 years ago. And we even called it Street Beat.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
so I don't know. I've heard rumors that Sam was working with who was the guy that was Usac before?
Is it Randall?
Randall.
Was it
Yes.
Randall?
Um, so he was working with him, and they kind of came up with it together. But
Mm.
like I said, I don't know. I just know where I got it from, and we were doing it. We were doing it in Reno. We had a lot of participation, and guys had a great time doing it. So I mean, there's nothing against it. One thing about DB Drag that you will like over USAC is it's head to head,
Head to head.
Yeah.
and that adds a whole new dimension. I mean,
Right.
Jeffrey will tell you about that.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I actually I got to be there for USAC finals,
yep.
and it's a little different when somebody puts up a number, and then your competition has a chance to put up a number, and then after that they can do reruns, and it was like, oh man, now you gotta kind of wait for that all over again, and which is cool. But in DB drag, it's like you're standing, or you're right next to your competition, and you're looking them in the
Hmm.
eye, and then it's like it's win or lose right then and there, because that's who's going to move on to the next round, or win the whole bracket. So it's a little different. I noticed. I mean, both are cool, but just to be able to see your competition next to you, and you got 30 seconds, and that
Yeah.
Better not
that's a
fail.
little bit more. That's a little
Well,
bit more adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Jeffrey was there for the little head to head that we had on a
Right.
tiebreaker
Yeah.
at
Okay.
at uh at Usac Finals, and that was kind of cool.
Well, can you
It
explain
was
that to me? Because I'm not familiar with their tiebreaker rules or anything.
so for some reason they had two different lanes.
Hmm.
Lane A was, you know, a certain number of classes, and then lane B was the
Hmm.
opposite. There were street over here, modified and stuff like that. So it was separated, and so they could do it simultaneously. Two cars could run at the same time slots.
Okay.
They had a competitor come in and run and tie in the same class in that lane A, uh, but the meter was set up to only read to the 10th instead of the
Mm.
100th.
Okay.
So the score was 162.7, but there was no 100th there to decipher who would have broke the tie by the 100th.
Hmm.
And in most cases, if that 100th was there, then it would go to how much the efficiency, who used the least amount of power.
Okay.
But
Oh,
um,
okay.
because they didn't show that 100th, they had to come up with something kind of on the fly, and they said, well, we'll just do head to head. And it was kind of crazy. Both guys had issues with their car, and
Hmm.
and neither one of them were able to get to that same score that they put up originally.
Hmm.
But I think they had a wonderful time, and it was kind of it was there. Everybody was in the moment, and there was even a little malfunction on the screen. There's some videos up of it now, but it they went head to head, and one was below the other one, and the judge said, you got so and so seconds, and for some reason the screen went blank, and then they had to burp again, and they did it again. You know what I mean? With that 6 seconds or 7 seconds left or whatever, and
Yeah, I think
down to the wire. It was good.
they were using an external timer, which was a little weird. But like you
Really?
said, I think it might have been on the fly, and
Hmm.
and for one thing too, I guess it was both the same class, so
Hmm.
they wanted to do it both uh, on one side, or
Mm. So,
something like that.
so it was
But
so it was their introduction into the DB drag type of
I think
competition,
so.
right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I was
So
thinking, hey, this is like a copyright infringement here. Somebody get Wayne on the phone, but
I think the thing that they were trying to do was just make it kind of like fair for both
Mm,
people to try to
Hmm.
like, because they both also had issues, that they could put up as high a number as they could, but if the other one felt they could get that last little bit out within that amount of time, that they could best that score basically head to head like DB drag does.
Right.
mm.
So
I wanted to bring up one other thing. Let's see, who is it? Jessica said, as she mentioned. Well, what about freestyle class? So freestyle
Yeah,
for us is essentially
mhm.
your
outlaw,
outlaw classes.
right?
Okay.
The only difference is we only have two classes. We have stock and then super street.
For now,
So for now,
right?
because we're trying to grow that as a class.
Okay.
USAC's not doesn't even exist really here in California very much.
Okay.
Um, so we have a lot of guys that are really into doing that, and a lot of times the people doing freestyle, they just want to see how loud their car is. And
Right.
they just came to the show to see how loud their car is, and they don't want to do the head to head stuff, and it gives them an
Right.
opportunity to just jump on the meter, is really what it
Yeah.
does. So
So what's the requirements for stock? How does that work?
it's got to be stock.
It's
So the
essentially
same thing that I compete with.
Yes.
the same rules from
Okay,
DB drag classes. It's the
but I
same
wouldn't fit.
as
I wouldn't fit in the stock class, would I? Because
Why
of the
not?
airbag deal, the airbag thing.
well,
No,
I think
because
for
yeah, for
it's pro stock,
pro,
right?
yeah, because
Pro
it's
stock you
pro
don't
stock
have.
and below will be in the stock class, so you would fit
Stock.
in that.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
All
you
right.
would fit in that.
Okay.
So
All right.
no, that I mean, like I said, that's why we talk about this and learn about this.
So
Go ahead.
in DB drag, do
Mhm.
you have guys that run more than one class with the same
So
vehicle?
so you're allowed to run multiple formats, not
Hmm.
multiple classes.
In the same
Okay.
format.
Right. So you can do base race, DB drag, cyclone, top dog, and freestyle.
Okay. So you can
So,
only do like one burp class, right?
well, freestyle's a burp class and DB
Right.
drag's a
Oh,
burp
okay. That's a
class.
different one. Okay. Okay. I got you.
So,
I'm learning. Y'all are teaching me here. This is good.
cyclone
This is
is
good.
music, base race is music, and top dog are music. Top dog is base race, but you can have your windows, doors open, whatever you feels to most advantageous to you. But like I said, once you do some testing, and you're gonna find out, the more environmental features you can control, the better you're gonna like it. So even when
Okay.
our top guys are doing top dog, even though they can open their windows and doors, they don't until they bust out. So if they bust out of the class, then they'll open their door and try and screw up the guy next to them. Because if they're loud as hell, then they just tweak their mic, right?
Okay.
So,
All
Looks like
right.
we got a
go ahead.
comment here from the person who did our intro music,
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah, Saif Morrison says, "Luke messed me up trying to make me tap." What does that mean, Luke?
Well, he wanted to feel that 66 hertz, so I put him in the car and let him get a little bit of it. So
okay,
there's I don't remember if he videoed that or not, but I put him in there for about 15 to 20 seconds, and he took it like a champ.
all right. Well, I'm sure it wasn't one of his songs, just because his
No, it
don't
was the
play that
street beat
high.
track.
Oh yeah, his
Yeah,
don't. He likes to play that low
The
lows.
lows, low
yeah,
Yeah,
lows.
he's a big
yeah,
fan of the low lows. So yeah, I'm sure it
yeah.
was him. Um, Another thing, are you familiar with the Term Lab Winner's Edge?
So I have heard of it here more recently,
Okay.
but I haven't been able to use that. Jeffrey was the one telling me about that, so
Mm-hmm.
I plan to
Yeah.
try and get set up to start possibly using that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey, you want to explain to everybody how that could be helpful to him, so that viewers, listeners can
So I
understand
mean,
that.
a lot of us competitors, when I used to compete, and I wonder if I still have it around here. I think it's in the office, but I used to have this little black book. Okay,
Uh
it's
huh.
always one column was volume, the middle column was frequency, and then the other column was SPL. That was
Yeah.
basically how I took notes, right? And then every here and there, added concrete or cut some
Weird.
this or cut that, something like that. But in wow, I wish I had the winner's edge back when I was competing. It has so many different variables, like what is it, atmospheric pressure and stuff like
Hmm.
that. It has all like the
Mm.
volume, the frequency, the SPL, but more than that. You should check it out. There's some YouTube videos. I think Wayne has put some tutorials
Yes.
about Winner's Edge. Look
Rob
back at
Caller.
the previous episodes of This Week in Car Audio with Rob Collar. He's done extensive testing with it. So
Yep.
yeah, check it out. It might be
Alan Dante's in the chat right now. I'm sure he's used it.
oh yeah,
So,
yeah,
Mm.
um, but yeah, we're trying to get
So
him
it's
over here in the
basically like
states.
a
Just
formatted spreadsheet.
yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
it is.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah, it definitely is a formatted spreadsheet. You can put whatever uh, columns you want, right? Just like any other
Mhm.
spreadsheet, you can sort
Right.
it by whatever you want, by date, temperature, frequency, whatever you want to do.
Oh, that would
Um,
make it awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's automatic, right? So
yeah,
the numbers just input themselves. You're not, and a lot of guys like us, we used to test like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? We're like one eye is like half closed, we're like half asleep writing this stuff down, and who knows, we might
Mm.
have transposed some numbers, frequencies, and ended up blowing stuff when this winner's edge just bam, just automatically puts that info where you want it. So
Yes, it does. So that's really cool. And just so you guys know, Term Lab and DB Drag don't sponsor us. That's just what Jeffrey and I use, and we do. So it's um, you know uh, any competitor trying to get better, I would strongly suggest you get yourself a Term Lab because of
yeah, you
the
have to,
the
got to.
amount of features. The knockoff brands for Term Lab, they don't have the same features. They don't have the same readings. Term Lab uses to calculate numbers and whatnot, and power. Definitely, power is calculated completely different in some of the knockoff brands versus Term Pro because they're proprietary. Um, it's software. It's a software thing
Mhm.
that he uses. So that's definitely that.
Have you seen
Go ahead.
Drew Jones is going to do a head to head with all the different SPL lab meters and the term labs to see how accurate they are?
Okay. No, I
No, no,
don't even know who that is actually. So
Drew Jones is baseaholic. He does
okay.
box designs.
Okay.
He's out of Louisiana. He
Uh-huh.
actually had a couple of people come step up and basically sent him a whole plethora of meters, and he's going to do a good comparison, something that probably need to be done, probably has needed to be done for a while now,
Okay.
so people know what they spend their money on, and what's what.
Okay. Tristan over in Barbados. His name of his shop is SQ Sounds. He says his dream is to build an extreme build for SQ Sounds one day. He was talking to
oh,
Alan
extreme.
Dante. Yeah, he was talking to Alan Dante about how to kind of start putting that together and whatnot. And because Alan's another one. I mean, yeah, he wants to win, but he's going to help people out so that they can push
Mhm.
him to be louder. You know, he's shooting for that 186 or 186.9,
Sick. Oh,
something like that. He's hitting some silly ass number, um, and,
Yeah,
and and he says he can't even get lithium where he lives. So he goes, wait until I
wow.
get lithium
I
and see
thought
what
there was
happens.
He's
yeah
doing
I thought there was
AGMs, huh?
some stuff happening there. I thought one of his buddies was helping him get some lithium.
Well, he's got a little help going on with some other ways, so I'm sure it's gonna come. 186.4, Allen says.
Ah,
Mm.
So, but he's got some other
big
stuff, and
goals.
he may be rolling into some lithium pretty soon, which is going to open up some more area for him to either change box or to add even more power, right? Because power is a he says they finally got lithium, is what he
Finally, we
just
got
said.
lithium.
So because power is a math problem, right? Voltage time
Mm.
amperage equals impedance, or divided by impedance, so equals power. And if you're
Mm.
missing voltage or amperage, you ain't gonna get the power that you want.
Mm.
And gel cell
Yeah.
batteries are way more difficult to create that same voltage and amperage delivery that compared to lithium, obviously.
Yeah, Luke, you know a little bit about lithium, right?
A little bit.
You build battery banks, is that right? Or
Oh,
Yeah, I've been building NMC banks for a little while now, using the CMAX cells and the Insight
C-Max?
cells.
Oh,
So
okay.
okay. C-Max your preferred cell?
I like the Insight cells a little bit more than the actual CMAX cells. There's not much difference. They're both made by Panasonic, but basically they're they're neck and neck.
Mm,
The
okay.
Insight cells were actually made a little bit later, a little bit later than the CMAX cells. So I happen to have Insight cell just sitting right here
Oh,
beside me.
nice.
So
So how does
yeah.
that fit in my Trans Am? That's the only
Yeah.
question I got.
So for
Oh,
like
it's
Alan
super
Dante,
small.
who's just getting into lithium, or so the basically a bank is just a bunch of those little things, or
Yeah.
Series parallel,
So
basically.
yeah.
so four of these cells right here in series will get you to, you know, 14.8 minimum,
Mm-hmm.
16.8 maximum, absolute maximum. I don't ever recommend these cells to be taken up to that 16.8. 15.7 to 16 is the sweet spot for them.
Mm-hmm.
Most amplifiers that we're using, like the Crossfire 16K, is a 16-volt model, so it operates really well there. You're getting just about all the power that you're going to be able to get out of it clean at 15.7 to 16 volts. Over that, you're pretty much just kind of wasting voltage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Alan Dante says voltage is key when you're at the top of your system. We did 186 dB testing. Voltage drops to 9.5 volts DC. With lithium, we stay at 15.8. Yep, and that's probably where he gets his
yeah,
couple extra tenths from. He
Yeah.
goes,
I bet so.
we will be gaining or we will max out the cabin structure. So he's saying he's either going to blow up his
Yeah,
car or he's going to get louder.
he's either gonna, yeah. I don't know how much power I got, but I know how much I'm gonna use.
That's
Hmm.
right.
Right.
So, hey Jeffrey, we're running up on an hour already. This went by really
Oh,
cool.
cool.
This is pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Do you want to hit him up with where we're at?
Okay.
I
Luke.
wanted to
So
touch
Oh, go ahead.
one more thing
sure, sure,
on the
sure.
lithium. Fun fact for me at finals was, I hadn't really messed with the car. I kind of sort of always get down to the wire without doing too much to it, and it had been sitting for a while. New recones being made, and I don't keep equipment in the car because I don't have a garage to keep it in. So I
Mm.
pull everything out, basically almost every time that I do anything in the car. So a couple weeks before I start the car up, it immediately smokes and snaps the belt. So in a rush, I went to multiple auto parts stores and um, found a couple of belts, but wasn't sure of the exact one because I got different information, and using an aftermarket alt on the car, you end up getting maxed out on the adjustment there because the pulley's smaller. But I said screw it, and I put a bunch of lithium in it, and we went to Crossfire to do some testing that day, and I ended up not even running my alternator at all, and
Right.
never had my car on or anything during the runs. So basically, car off, all on the battery standalone.
Wow.
Used a power supply to top it off. Even for the music run, I would drop about a volt during that music run, but it would
Mhm.
rebound
Come back up.
to about point 0.2 down, about point 0.2 down from where I started after the music run. So
That's freaking
Yeah.
awesome.
Lithium. That's a wave of the
it's
future.
superior. It is.
Definitely is. All right.
Okay, but so
Go
the
ahead, Drip.
question,
Hit me with the
the,
question.
the question we asked all of our guests um, is, what is your definition of a bass head?
For me, the definition of a bass head is basically like anybody who has a passion basically for that low end extension in sound, something that uh you know loud music is one thing, but when you hear it and you feel it and it basically changes you, that's my definition of a bass head. Somebody that can interpret that and appreciate it and love that. So
There you go.
Yeah.
That's definitely someday we're gonna have to meet Angel. Angel's a deaf guy that competes over here on the West Coast. Have you ever met
mm,
Right.
Angel? I forgot his
Yeah.
last name. Yeah, but he's deaf,
It's like
so
Castilla
oh
or
yeah, that's
something
right,
like that.
Castillo.
Yeah, I think he did a couple of Andy shows out
Yeah.
there. That yeah, and even SoCal. But
So
and then
yeah,
you're
he
right, he is
competes
deaf.
and you go like this, that's sign language for clapping your
Sign-
hands,
Right,
right?
applause.
mm,
Yeah, round of applause. And yeah, he was doing bass race and DB drag
wow.
and cuz he can feel the music and it's
Hmm.
Yeah.
changed him and he has an absolute love for music and can't hear it, you know?
mm,
So
But
that
he can
yeah.
feel
definitely
it, and
he can
that's what he
absolutely feel
enjoys.
it. Yep.
Yep.
So that's awesome. Um, oh, Tiffany's teaching Tristan how to use spreadsheets
Ah.
so he'll understand it now.